In the sprawling and often turbulent world of the television series Euphoria, few character arcs are as viscerally painful and psychologically complex as that of Maddy Perez. On the surface, her decision to return to Nate Jacobs after a terrifying and violent choking incident seems inexplicable, a glaring failure of self-preservation that defies easy logic. Yet, to dismiss Maddy as simply a victim without agency or to label her choices as foolish is to profoundly misunderstand the intricate web of trauma, learned behavior, and social conditioning that entraps her. Understanding why Maddy stays requires peeling back the layers of her world, a world where love is conflated with drama, self-worth is measured by external validation, and leaving feels more dangerous than enduring the known horrors of staying. This is not a story about a weak girl making a bad choice, it is a stark examination of the psychology of abuse cycles, played out under the harsh, glittering lights of high school social hierarchies. From the outset, Maddy projects an image of unshakable confidence. She is fierce, glamorous, and possesses a sharp wit that commands attention. This persona, however, is her armor, meticulously constructed to hide vulnerabilities and insecurities that run deep. In Nate, she initially sees a reflection of this curated perfection, the star athlete from a wealthy family, handsome and commanding. Their relationship quickly becomes the central drama of her life, a source of intense passion that validates her status. For Maddy, whose home life is subtly portrayed as lacking in emotional depth, this all-consuming romance fills a void. The intensity of their connection, even when it turns negative, becomes addictive. The highs of makeup sessions, passionate declarations, and shared social power are inextricably linked to the lows of jealousy, control, and violence. Her brain, still developing in its prefrontal cortex which governs risk assessment and long-term decision-making, becomes wired to seek the reconciliation dopamine hit after the cortisol crash of a fight. The choking incident, therefore, exists not as a standalone, unforgivable event in her mind, but as the worst peak in a familiar emotional landscape she has already been navigating. To an outsider, the violence is a clear line; to someone inside the cycle, it is a terrible but familiar part of the terrain. Crucially, Maddy's environment normalizes this toxicity. The entire world of Euphoria is one of extreme emotions and blurred boundaries. While her friends, particularly Cassie, express concern, there is no strong, consistent counter-narrative showing her what a healthy, stable relationship looks like. Her own mother, in a telling and heartbreaking scene, advises her after the choking to simply tell people she fell, prioritizing the appearance of stability over actual safety. This moment is a masterclass in explaining intergenerational trauma. It teaches Maddy that a woman's role is to manage crises privately, to protect the man's reputation, and to maintain the facade at all costs. The message is clear: your pain is less important than the story people tell about you. Furthermore, Nate is not a monster in a vacuum, he is embedded in the same social structure, wielding significant power and influence. Leaving him isn't just about leaving a boyfriend, it's a potential social suicide, risking isolation, gossip, and the loss of the identity she has built as Nate Jacobs' girlfriend. The fear of the unknown, of loneliness, of social oblivion, of starting over, can feel far more terrifying than the known devil. Nate also expertly employs classic manipulative tactics. After the violence, he likely love-bombs her, showering her with apologies, gifts, and promises of change. He twists the narrative, making her feel complicit or suggesting she provoked him, seeding doubt in her own perception of events. This gaslighting is a powerful tool, making her question her reality. If she can be convinced the choking was a mistake, born of passion or a moment of lost control for which he is now profoundly sorry, the path back to him seems possible, even necessary for his redemption, which he makes feel like her responsibility. At the core of Maddy's decision is a profound crisis of self-worth. Despite her outer bravado, her sense of value is deeply tied to being desired by someone like Nate. His obsession with her, even when expressed through controlling and violent means, is misinterpreted as a form of ultimate dedication. In the distorted logic of abuse, he gets this angry because he loves me this much, becomes a perverse comfort. She has invested so much of her identity into the relationship that ending it feels like an annihilation of self. Who is Maddy Perez without this epic, dramatic love? The prospect of finding out is daunting. The choking incident, instead of clarifying her worth, may have paradoxically deepened her sense of being trapped. The psychological phenomenon of sunk cost fallacy plays a role here. After investing so much time, emotion, and public identity into the relationship, walking away feels like admitting that all that pain was for nothing. It can feel easier to double down, to believe that this time will be different, in order to justify the suffering already endured. Additionally, for a young woman who has been sexualized from a young age, as hinted at with her babysitting backstory, her power and agency are often linked to her sexuality and her ability to captivate powerful men. Nate represents the pinnacle of that captivation. Leaving him means relinquishing that hard-won social power, a trade-off her current psyche is not equipped to make. Ultimately, Maddy's return to Nate after the choking is a tragic but realistic portrait of how trauma bonds are formed. These bonds are not about love but about survival wiring. The intermittent reinforcement, the unpredictable switch between abuse and affection, creates a powerful addiction stronger than consistent kindness ever could. Her story is a cautionary tale, not about a girl who makes stupid choices, but about how systemic forces, dysfunctional family advice, a social scene that prizes couples over individuals, the neurological thrill of drama, and the manipulative genius of an abuser can align to dismantle a person's instinct to flee danger. Euphoria does not glorify her decision, it painstakingly documents the prison she is in, showing that the bars are made of her own fears, her environment's expectations, and Nate's calculated cruelty. Her eventual journey toward breaking free, hinted in later seasons, is all the more powerful because we have seen the immense weight of what she is carrying. We understand that leaving is not a single event but a slow, painful process of rewiring her understanding of love and self-respect. Maddy Perez's story teaches us that the question is never, why doesn't she just leave, but rather, what monumental forces is she battling inside and out that make staying seem like the only option? It is in sitting with that uncomfortable, complicated reality that we begin to truly understand the psychology of staying and the immense courage it finally takes to go.